The future of MK is the future of South Africa. What happened with Barry Herzog's party, it's going to take them maybe another 2 election cycles to get there. But as an organization, they're only going to grow. I mean, let's hope Ubaba is able to live for at least
another 20
15
years.
Yeah, 15
to 20 years.
Where he can lead. No, lead, not live. Sorry, lead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Man.
Yeah, because his experience is invaluable.
Yeah.
And he's also a former head of state. And he's one that's gone up against the establishment. You know what I mean? He's got the battle scars. And therefore his experience is needed to raise the next generation that's going to take us forward. The EFF as well, you know, I think that their space is going to grow with the decline of the ANC naturally. And they're also going to be part of that future. So I do see them coming together the same way that United and the Labour Party came together to create the National Party that then led South Africa up until 1994. And with that, one would say, oh, doesn't that then lead us back to another system of reverse apartheid? No, but it's reverse apartheid to benefit the majority. And that's what democracy is. It's about the majority.
Africa, wake up. Africa, rise up. Africa, without borders. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
It's both the DA and the ANC's fault. You know what I mean? Both of them are stifling the state. The DA by ensuring that they disempower the state from doing anything, so that they give all their work to private companies who they're empowering, and those private companies then in turn fund them and their campaigns. And the ANC by stifling the participation of a broader section of our population in the economy, because they are the ones that are the gatekeepers for which blacks get to enter into the mainstream economy. You know? So they're both doing that job on either side. This one is doing it on the left, this one is doing it on the right. You know? And the middle is being chewed out. And they've been doing this for the entire 30 years. And they've gotten us to a point where, you know, our politics is so terrible that even if us as black people all put our money together, we don't have Oppenheimer money. Even all of us slug it. So bangathenga every election forever. Forever. Like seriously, like they can buy every election forever. They buy a blind, like we
by taking election essay, Bossa, they gave IFP 20 million. They bought like everything.
They bet on every horse. The whole entire Durban July. They said, okay, Uban, okay, yeah, okay. Everyone wins.
And they succeeded in breaking us apart.
Well, I don't think they succeeded in breaking us apart.
They have.
Nah.
If we can choose to partner with the DA instead of colliding with other black parties.
No. That's the ANC's decision. That's not black people's decision. You need to understand.
Because they created these other parties as much as the leaders were pissed off.
Yeah, but all those other parties, like, no.
The smaller parties are funded by the same people, as you say.
Yes, but what I'm trying to say is that failed. I do not buy into that narrative that these smaller parties succeeded. They gave this guy 30 million and he got 2 seats. That's a failure. That's a big failure. That's a massive failure. The other one got to 2 seats, 3 seats, 1 seat. Those are failures. All these new pop-up black parties, you know what I mean? Those are all failures. They all failed. They all got beaten. The DA failed. The DA was never able to take votes from the ANC ever in its history. Even in this election, they failed to take votes. The only person that took votes from the ANC is MK. Zuma. That's it. Zuma put the ANC and MK at the same percentage he left it at when he last was elected in, 65%. You know what I mean? So, all the narratives and the things that's what our media is feeding us. They're feeding us the wrong narratives. They're feeding us completely rejected narratives. They are the ones who are saying mostly that, you know, the people have voted for a divide. No, people have not voted for this outcome. You know what I mean? The fact that 78% don't want DA, if the numbers are even to be accurate, you know, the fact that over 60% don't want ANC. In fact, it's even more than that if you look at the people that did not vote as well, because the people that did not vote definitely did not want to vote for ANC. If they would have come to vote if they wanted ANC in, you know what I mean? So that's the majority of all voters. Do not want the ANC, don't trust the system, and the system being compromised as it is, but having still so much power is a very dangerous thing that, you know, I think a lot of young people are taking for granted. You look at what's happening in Kenya right now, where the young people are the ones that are taking up to the streets in a tax revolt, crying about the taxes because these taxes are just ways to pay your grandparents' debt. Like, why are our children paying our debt? Why is it as black people that we accept that our children need to take care of us when we are in our old age? Why are we giving them a burden? Why are we making their future beholden to our, you know, well-being? Like, why is that? Why is the child's future not about making their children better off so that your grandchildren can be better off? And then what type of relationships do we then want to foster with our children when, you know, it seems like, you know, we depend on them? You know, we can't have proper relationships as dependents. The same way you don't want to be dependent on a grant is the same way that your child does not want you to be dependent on them. You know? And it's a massive burden. I think the last time we spoke for a long time, I was telling you that my dad was finishing up his chemo treatment.
Yeah.
And he was just telling me the other day that, you know, it's cost him over like 600K just since last year.
How is he now?
Yeah, well, he's doing better.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, like, imagine if that was 600K that would have to be paid by his children. You know what I mean? And that is the situation for majority of black people. And yet, you know, the DA can then say NHI is a bad idea because the medical aid companies are going to lose money and everything else. Why don't the medical aid companies take the money that they're making? They make so much money. They just keep most of the money. They don't even use it. Let them go into another business that's profitable. They're private companies. How? Why should the government care that private companies are going out of business? They're private companies. They can go into something else. Fana aispadang riding yenza something else. Aisaspani riding. Fana, you're a private company. You can do whatever you want. Who says that you as a private company are entitled to a certain industry? And an industry that is extracting the value of the services that are supposed to be provided by the state for the people's well-being. Because that's what it's doing. It's draining the state's resources. These private companies, all these private hospitals, they all get subsidies from the government anyway. They do. For everything. So they're draining the state, they're using the state's resources, and plus, they're not the ones that pay for the colleges that educate the nurses and everything else. So they're using the state's resources in terms of educating people, in terms of giving them NSFASs, in terms of allowing them to get into the medical field. They're using those state resources, and also they want subsidies, and also they want the state to allow them to run a savings industry outside of state competition that allows people to pay for those services at a premium rate because they make them exclusive. Like, how is that justifiable? That is like completely evil. And the fact that these people know how to speak in English that makes it seem as if what they're doing is, you know, just fair business. It's not, it's evil.
But why would the ANC though fold under the pressure of big business and the DA?
The ANC has always folded under the pressure of big business. since its establishment. It's always folded under the pressure of business. Like I'm saying, is that the people that were allowed to vote, the ANC guys were allowed to vote. They voted. From when it started in 1912. They were educated, their degrees. Those were the first people to have degrees. They were the ones that were allowed to vote. They were part of the native councils. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And ANC was started by educated people.
Yes, exactly. People who could vote. Exactly.
And people who could speak to Ingamla and say, we will lead these people.
You understand?
Don't worry, we'll lead them on your own.
And what did they do? They got co-opted. Over time, it was only inevitable that the system would then make them have to choose between their own, expediency and the well-being of their people. That is it. And that's what we need to accept, we need to accept the mourning period, the trauma of it. You need to accept that, oh, damn, this thing that I believed in so much is not what I thought it was. At first you're going to be very angry at yourself. You feel like a fool. This is how we felt after we vaccinated, is it not? We're over it now, but I mean, that's how it felt after when we realized that, they were lying to us this whole entire time.
So do you think these elections also exposed the ANC for what it is?
Yes. It's exposed. Completely.
What it really is.
Yes. What it really is. Now we expose. Now we know who to win Zuma. When Zuma. Now we know. He wanted the ANC to live up to its promise and not what it truly is. And he exposed what the ANC truly is. That's why he was kicked out. Or marginalized.
Do you think this is the death of the ANC?
Suspended. I don't think it's the death of the ANC, completely, but I know that it will never recover from this.
Because now we're moving from there'll always be there'll always be racism, but it's like we're moving from a racist society to a classist society.
No, that's not the case.
I think so, because now you've got you've got a lot of people who feel for the betterment of the country, and these are educated people, these are middle class.
Our society is not classist. No.
We're moving there.
No. The classes are the ones that run our society. You need to stop using the word to describe the society and describe the people that act in a certain way. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So the classes are the ones that they're the ones who can say all these things. They're the ones who can say we are the educated ones. We are the ones who can rule over the blacks. That's what the ANC are. They are the classes.
Yeah.
You understand? They're the ones who say we speak on behalf of all blacks. We are the ones that will rule over you. You know what I mean? We're the overlords. So they have dictated terms. It's not that we live in a classist society, because you know that that is rejected. People are disgusted by these classes.
No, but it's moving to the voter now. The voter says, no, you need to be accountable for the betterment of the country. I don't care even if you go down whether the ANC, you need to partner with the DA, work with the DA.
No, they've never said that. The voter has never said that. That's the media. That's the classes narrative, trying to spin it so that they can use the DA to save them, so that they can get away with being who they truly are by saying, we're not delivering on our promise because you forced us to partner with these white supremacists. That's it. They constructed the situation. It's a manufactured consent. They created the situation. And then they what's leading them into bed with the DA so much? Why would Duminisen Ntuli say, we invited the MK, they said, they had a problem with the president. The EFF said they don't want to work with the DA. The DA said they don't want to work with the EFF. Why still did you choose them? You understand what I'm saying? So you're more biased. So when the DA says they don't want to work with the EFF, you're like, oh no, yes, boss. And when the EFF say they don't want to work with the DA, you say, Buffett. Because that would have been easy. Okay, IFP, ngapa, EFF, ngapa, and then you still would have been able to, do what you want in government.
But also the IFA has been exposed for what it is now also, right?
But, I mean, that has always been the case.
But people never knew. The masses never knew.
No, the masses always knew.
I think now it has come out.
No, the masses always knew. The masses always knew. The masses knew what happened in the early 90s. In the East Rand, they knew. Everybody knew. I knew when I was a kid that the IFP was doing all this slaughtering and killing people and stuff like that. That was in my home. I grew up with that.
20 million they got from the Oppenheimers.
Yeah,
a lot
but
of money,
obviously
bro.
we knew that they were getting money for the third force to enact the violence. We knew that. We've always known that. We've never tried. IFP has never been trusted. It's never been trusted. You know what I mean? The government of national unity was a way to cleanse them, to make them like legitimate, but it's never been trusted. You know what I mean? And that's it. They were in government before. You must remember that throughout apartheid, IFP was in government in KZN. You know? So.
But the reason why I'm saying so is because I saw a lot of, videos on social media of IFP voters pissed off, angry.
At what?
At what the leadership of the INC did by going into bed with the ANC and the DA.
No, but those
and valeling out
those people,
a party that got almost half of the votes in KZN.
People that were always loyal to the IFP are people that are not politically astute. They just have always known the IFP. You know what I mean? So, like, I like to think of people who are politically atheist as the more astute. People who are loyal to a certain party, like it's a church, you know what I mean? They don't really look at the dynamics. They don't really look at what the party is promising. They don't look at whether the party is delivering. They are more following a party like it's a religion.
Isn't it like black people are like that, Velo, with anything?
Not black people are like that. I wouldn't call it like that. There are white people who are like that. White people are more like that. White people will never think of another party.
They stay on code. They always stay on code.
They're the most tribalistic, you know. And I think that's also another opportunity that was missed out in this election. Like, knowing how tribalistic white people are, we allowed the DA to take the Afrikaner vote. How? How are we allowing Afrikaners and English people, the people that hate each other? They hate each other the most. Afrikaners and British people hate each other more than they can hate black people.
But they're able to work together against black people.
But they hate black people. They hate black people less.
Under the disguise of the betterment of the country.
They hate black people less than they hate each other.
Serious?
Yo. You understand what I'm saying? So, I don't understand how we missed out on that opportunity. The Afrikaner vote should be split up. Freedom Front Plus should split the DA in half. Like, that should be the first negotiation.
By now,
exactly. Because one thing we know is that the Afrikaners have lost most of their connection to the West. Like, as a people. Like, to the big forces. But the British are very much still with the English-speaking South Africans in their businesses, partnerships, The Dutch, mainly through American businesses, where the Afrikaners have got a base, and capital as well. But that doesn't spread out throughout the whole Afrikanerdom, because there's also elitism there. There's a lot of Afrikaners that don't know what's going on in the politics, that don't have these opportunities, that are not from rich families, that are being kept out, And so it's just shocking for me that there's certain black people that think that just because they're friends with white people or they know white people, you don't know what white people are doing when they're doing the things that make them rich and you poor forever. You are not there. They'll never bring you there. They'll never bring you to the real big table where the real money can be, divided up. These people are able to pay 30 million just to give to a guy. Just here.
The recent South Africa election has exposed a lot about what has been happening in the country since 30 years of ANC being in power. Instead of a coalition government of national unity with the EFF and MK that have the same ideology working to empower black South Africans, they decided to form a government of national unity with the DA, whose ideology is for the favor of white minority supremacists. As Dr. Arikana said just before the government of national unity was formed, I said, and in quote, "I think South Africans need to realize that 30 years since independence, black South Africans are still not going anywhere. The economic power continues to rest in the hands of the white people. And so, what you saw during this election is a referendum on how ANC has performed. Till date, something has got to give. I have often said that if the situation in South Africa is not equalized, there is going to be a more serious revolution taking place in South Africa. So those results are a warning to ANC to say, you better shape up. So I am hoping that they can come up with a government of national unity that includes MK and EFF, and definitely not ZA, because if they do include the ZA in that government of national unity, that will be their demise. South Africa must equalize the playing field, said Dr. Arikana Chiumbori Kau, former African Union ambassador to the United States of America. And that is basically what has happened. The ANC prefer the DA to EFF of Julius Malema and MK of Jacob Zuma to form the government of national unity. And if care is not taken, ANC will never recover from this. Africa, wake up. Africa, rise up. Africa without borders. Africa, continental free trade area. The time is now. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.